A missing wedding ring, a viral embrace, a husband who publicly hopes his wife will abandon her faith. This isn't a reality TV show. This is the life of Usha Vance, Second Lady of the United States. We are seeing what happens when ambition collides with identity, when political power demands the erasure of everything you are, and when a brilliant woman finds herself becoming inconvenient to her husband's next move. And there's already someone waiting in the wings who fits the MAGA mold perfectly. Let's talk about what's really happening here. On November 19th at Camp Lejeune, Usha Vance appears alongside First Lady Melania Trump. When cameras zoomed in, her left hand is bare, no wedding ring. Within minutes, the photos explode across social media. Speculation about marital trouble erupts. Memes about JD sleeping on the couch flood timelines. Her spokesperson rushes to respond. There's no hidden message. As a mother of three, she does a lot of dishes, gives lots of baths, and forgets her ring sometimes. Let's pause there. Usha Vance has a Yale undergraduate degree and graduated from Yale Law School. She clerked for Chief Justice John Roberts and worked on billion-dollar mergers and acquisitions at a top DC law firm. You're telling me this woman, the Second Lady of the United States, is doing so many dishes that she constantly forgets her wedding ring? This is the wife of the Vice President. They have Secret Service protection. They have staff. They have resources that 99.9% of Americans will never have. But the spokesperson wants us to believe she's just an overwhelmed mom who forgets jewelry while scrubbing pots? It's insulting, not just to our intelligence, but to her, because it reduces one of the most accomplished women in Washington to a domestic caricature, the forgetful housewife too busy with chores to remember basic accessories. And maybe that's the point. Maybe that's exactly the image they want to project. Because the alternative, that there's actual trouble in this marriage, would complicate JD Vance's carefully constructed political future. But the missing ring isn't an isolated incident. It's the latest chapter in a pattern that's been building since JD Vance became Trump's VP pick. Let's look at what Usha has sacrificed. She gave up her career. Immediately. A brilliant legal mind, a partner at a major firm, and she walked away the moment her far less accomplished husband got the VP nod. She's a lifelong Hindu, a practicing vegetarian, the daughter of Indian immigrants who are both science professors. And now? She sits in Catholic pews. Her children attend Catholic school. Her faith has been sidelined to fit the MAGA brand. Her husband calls himself a meat and potatoes guy. She's adapted. Everything about her identity, her career, her faith, her heritage, has been subordinated to his political ambitions. And here's the cruel irony. While she's done all of this, her husband has spent the past year railing against everything she represents. Coastal elites, Ivy League lawyers, immigrants. The very things that define her background are the things he attacks in his speeches. She's erased herself. And it still isn't enough. Because here's the uncomfortable truth that JD Vance has to face. To a significant portion of the MAGA Christian nationalist base, Usha is a liability. Not because of anything she's done, not because of her politics or her actions, but because of what she is, a Hindu, of Indian descent. An interfaith marriage in a movement that increasingly demands Christian purity. MAGA commentators have been saying it out loud for months. They've called her a problem. They've questioned whether she fits the movement's message. They've made her identity a talking point. And JD Vance knows this. He hears it. He sees it. So what did he do? Did he defend his wife? Did he stand up for her dignity and her heritage? No. At a Turning Point USA town hall, when questioned about his Hindu wife, he said publicly that he hopes she converts to Christianity. Read that again. The Vice President of the United States, on a public stage, expressed hope that his wife will abandon her faith. Not in a private conversation, not as a personal spiritual wish shared between spouses, but as a public statement to an audience that has been criticizing her for not being Christian enough. The message was clear. I hear your concerns. I'm working on it. After the election, when racist remarks were made about Usha, about her Indian heritage, about their interfaith marriage, JD Vance was largely silent. No fierce defense, no unequivocal condemnation, just muted responses and vague statements, because defending her too strongly would alienate the base he needs for his next move. On October 29th, University of Mississippi, at Turning Point USA's flagship campus tour event, Erica Kirk, widow of Charlie Kirk, now CEO of Turning Point USA, introduces Vance. She speaks warmly. She says she sees similarities between Vance and her late husband. "No one will ever replace my husband," she says. But JD Vance comes close. Then comes the embrace, the one that went viral, the prolonged hug, the physical familiarity that made people uncomfortable. And suddenly, social media erupted with speculation, screenshots, slowed-down clips, commentary from every angle. Here's what makes this moment so significant. Erica Kirk is everything Usha isn't, politically speaking. She's white. She's Christian. She's a widow of a martyred conservative hero. She runs one of the most powerful conservative youth organizations in the country. She embodies the MAGA ideal of feminine devotion to the cause. And JD Vance knows it. He needs what Trump has, a movement that feels personal, emotional, almost religious. He can't build that on his own charisma. He doesn't have it. So he's building it through alliances, through Turning Point, through Christian nationalist networks, through relationships with people who have the infrastructure and the emotional credibility with the base that he lacks. Erica Kirk provides all of that. She's the holy widow carrying on her husband's mission. She controls access to millions of young conservatives. She makes JD Vance's ideology look marketable. And unlike Usha, she fits seamlessly into the MAGA narrative. No complications, no interfaith concerns, no uncomfortable questions from the base. Now, let's be clear about what we're analyzing here. We're not speculating about affairs or private romantic relationships. We don't know what's happening in anyone's marriage, and that's their business. What we are analyzing is political strategy. And the political reality is this: JD Vance is 41 years old. Trump can't run for a third term. The 22nd Amendment is clear on that, no matter how many times Trump jokes about it or how many Republican congressmen propose amendments. This means JD Vance is positioning himself for 2028 or beyond. And in that positioning, Usha has become a complication, and Erica is his salvation. Of course, Vance will break his marriage if it means becoming the president. The viral moments, the speculation, the controversy, that keeps both of their names in circulation. It creates narrative momentum. It builds the alliance while everyone else argues about whether a hug was appropriate. And here's the devastating hypocrisy at the center of all of this. JD Vance built his political brand on traditional family values, on the sanctity of marriage, on Christian faith and American heritage. But when his own wife faces racism and religious discrimination, he's silent. When the base questions her fitness because of her Hindu faith, he publicly expresses hope she'll convert, essentially validating their concerns. When she sacrifices her career, her faith traditions, her entire identity to support his ambitions, it's still not enough. Because she can't change what she fundamentally is: the daughter of Indian immigrants, a Hindu, a woman whose very existence complicates his political narrative. She's done everything right by the playbook of political wives. She's been silent, supportive, dignified. She's erased herself to make him look more powerful. And the reward? Whispers that she's a liability, public comments about her faith, a base that questions her loyalty, a husband who won't defend her when it might cost him politically. This is what happens when you marry someone who values power more than he values you. So, when Usha Vance appeared without her wedding ring, maybe it wasn't about dishes and bath time. Maybe it was about a woman who's finally realizing that no amount of sacrifice will ever be enough. That she's married to a man who will always choose his ambition over her dignity. That she's become inconvenient to the political future he's building. You don't need to speculate about what's happening in that marriage. The pattern speaks for itself. And while everyone debates whether she forgot her ring while doing dishes, JD Vance is building the next phase of his political career. One where Usha's identity is an obstacle, and someone like Erica Kirk fits perfectly into the narrative he needs. That's not speculation. That's just paying attention.